he had a great amount of success in Wings of Liberty. He had some of the best CVP late game that we saw. Thinking back to his games, I remember one game specifically versus Creator on Ohana, where he just was able to play so incredibly well. One of his games against Squirtle comes to mind as well, perhaps even on that same map where he just was playing super duper late game and was able to just dismantle him by making big spore crawler walls, spine crawlers. Patience was the name of the game for Curious.
Yeah.
He was known by me as the Stone Code Killer because he always looked like he had no emotion when he defeated his players. He was just winning all the time. He was called the gatekeeper of Code A because he would always, prevent players from getting to Code S, and he himself would drop back down to prevent them again in Code A, always going up and down in those up and down matches. He was always there. A really long-standing career on, a really strong team, just nowadays hasn't been able to keep up with these new Kespa players.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, really. He has had success in the past, but he really needs to, I guess, just adjust to the meta, practice more to just keep up with all these other players who are just doing more than he is, obviously, in the booth, at the practice area, in the house and stuff. And definitely a favorite of a lot of guys. But as you do see here, in the current state of the game, we all vote for herO.
Yeah. I would imagine that Moonglade, were he here, would vote for herO as well. I think I know him well enough to know that. We could almost just write a 6-0 right there at this point because, Curious is a good Zerg player. His best matchup in the past historically was this one. But recent results versus herO's results, tough to argue. herO, one of the top players in the world, one of our most winning players of last season, tied with SOS, of course, in number 1 with a crazy win rate, beating a lot of good Zerg players. Yep. He's favorite.
The results, they speak for themselves. This guy is just awesome. The map is going to be Foxtrot Labs. A lot of times, Moonglade has talked about this in the past where, if there's one side of the map that you spawn on as Zerg, it's not great for your third base. It's a bit awkward, whereas the other side is much easier to take that third base as long as you break down the rocks here. So that's going to be a bit important. Very curious to see what kind of build hero's going to go for. Is he going to go for any timing attacks here, any kind of weird proxy tech? This map definitely has enough room to do that kind of thing. Or is he just going to play standard, try to take it late game against him? I feel like if herO has the confidence, if he's not nervous today, I'd love to see him do that because I think he is the better player nowadays. And I think he would take a much easier win that way instead of, being defended on some kind of all-in.
Right. Well, again, because of perhaps the technical issues that we had earlier, we still don't have the CJ player in the lobby yet. Or we don't have the CJ account in the lobby yet. Same thing, I guess you could say. But it may be because the computer was moved during that last game. We don't really know. So it could be a little bit longer before we actually get into this game. But I'm trying to think of more curious trivia for you guys, for those of you who might not be as familiar, Pro League fans, because he hasn't played that many matches. He did come out in GSTL oftentimes as the last player in the past to help his team actually, succeed. And was a former IM player. What else could I say about him? He was called the gatekeeper not only by myself and Caldor and some of the other commentators actually out in Korea, but also by the Korean commentators. Mr. Che asked me, I remember, what do you guys call Creator? Because he always goes up and down. And I said, we call him the gatekeeper, and Korean fans started calling him that as well for quite some time, just simply because he was always in the up and down matches. Never really had a huge Code S run. I think his best he ever had was the round of 8. Maybe made it to the round of 4 once, but never made it to a finals. Always a really good ZVP player, though.
Kind of a guy like Yoa, kind of mid-level there. I think he had maybe a bit more results than Yoa did, but both of those players kind of just mid-range, kind of kicking out all those players, like you're saying, the gatekeeper, that whole concept there. Really interesting type of player. The player that just never retires. He's always there, but he's never getting amazing results.
Yeah.
It's really those guys who you can look at them and say oh, you really love doing this. You love your job, basically.
Yeah, that's actually really what to me. In this is why I love the Korean scene so much, is you can actually follow these players for so many years, and even if they're not at the top, they're still here.
Yeah.
And they're actually not giving up. They're moving from team to team. They're still trying to find the right practice environment for them. They're trying to find the right situation for them that actually gives them the skills to move on. And you do see some players not able to keep up with that. You do see some players retire and fall off. And you see it happen faster for some players than for others. But as long as you're still here, you really love the game. And if you're here from the beginning and you're here now, you probably love the game even more than some of the other players.
And it's possible some of those players actually become, some of the best as long as they stick at it, Some players of potential like Dark, maybe Dream. Some of those guys could be, even though they've been playing for so long, could definitely become the new big guys of 2015. But here, we got herO. He's already a big guy of 2014, and he's here to take some names as well going into the 2015 Pro League.
A 14-8 record versus Zerg is insane. Not to mention how many total games he's played, over 100. Pretty sick. And this guy, definitely the favorite, not just by the casters, but also the players as well.
I love how his song is, it's not about the money, money, money. It just brings back memories of that $100,000 tournament he lost to SOS. Sorry, herO.
Not about the money in that one for sure. Well, his opponent here, playing an old classic song on his, is 0-4 in Pro League. He's only come out 4 times, only once against a Protoss. He lost the match. However, again, like I said, a ton of experience in the GSTL. Often a closer, often the anchor of his team. And never underestimate this guy. I really miss him being in top form, and I hope that he can return to that. But he's got a lot to prove here going on to Foxtrot Labs.
That he does.
All right, the map is up and loaded. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. herO, by far the favorite. His team already has taken the lead. It's up to Curious here to tie things up. The map is ready. Let's jump into game number 2.
Down here in the bottom right, in the red, the Protoss player for CJ Entis, it is herO.
And up to the top left in blue for StarTale-yoe, it is Curious. Fans in the crowd chanting. For those of you guys who could hear them, just a little bit. They're pretty loud down there. Oh, this is a great little Carbot drawing. The fans are calling the team ST-Yoe, even though it's officially StarTale-yoe. So just something when you hear that cheer in the crowd, if you don't think you're hearing any StarTale fans, they're just abbreviating that with that cheer because it is a longer team name. And see the pylon planted here on the low ground for herO. So a high chance that we'll be seeing some cannons. See if he decides to plant the forge.
Yep. Well, this is the spawning locations that I was talking about for the Zerg. It can be a bit awkward to take that third base.
Yeah.
You do have that gold, but again, the other third base is quite far away.
Yeah, it's really far away or exposed. Okie dokie. There goes that forge. And it's going to send that probe right across the map. Now this will be scouted by Curious, who actually goes gas before pool, but we'll of course have a pool before hatch. So cannoning not going to happen here. Instead, he's just going to go ahead and go over there, see that, make cannons at home, and get his Nexus up. But what's more interesting, actually, is what is Curious planning to do with this fast gas?
Yep, that is the question on everybody's minds. Could be a number of things. Could be speed. Could be banelings. I doubt it will be. Could be... well, I guess it's pretty safe to say here it's probably going to be speed.
Yeah, well, it's going to be speed, but with the speed, how much is he going to commit? Is he just going to use that to control the game early? Is he going to be aggressive with it? How many links is he going to make? I mean, it could be a baneling nest. I mean, it's very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. But let's just wait and see. It lines up perfectly with the spawning pool timing here to get speed immediately and pulls out. So let's just see how many links he commits to. This is a scout here by herO to see if he's still mining gas. So he has to, know, okay, not worried about fast layer or anything crazy like that. I'm not worried about banelings. I'm not worried about roaches. You pulled out There's going to be speedlings I need to worry about. Need to make sure my wall is tight. Wants to block here, but the lings are already down.
Yeah. Very safe kind of build. Like you were saying, you can use it to control the map, keep the Protoss in his base, but as long as the Protoss has got a forge and a decent wall, should be just fine. I mean, it can be annoying if Zerglings can get into your main base. It can cause a lot of damage, but herO not usually a player to let that happen.
Yeah, herO a great player when it comes to walling, playing defensively. Probe getting chased all over the place. Actually makes 2 more lings only, so just 6 in total. But with the lings that he has, he can deny scouts, for example, like this. And when speed is done, it's going to be even easier to deny scouts, deny pylons. In fact, if speed were just a little bit faster, he'd get both probes for sure. He is going to get this probe. Second probe looks like it's going to escape, though, back home. But he could take a third base pretty quickly, safely behind this. This may actually just come back to the spawning locations you were talking about before. It's tough to take this third base. It's far away. It's awkward. But if you have speedlings on the map and you kill all the probes and you have lings watching to make sure no more probes are going out, if a pylon is going up, he's going to have to bring guards with the probe to actually go and set that up. And it's going to be very obvious and really easy to shut down.
Some lings coming in with the speed. This is what I was talking about, going for that run by. He's able to get 3 into the main base.
And they have speed, of course, so they should be able to get a few kills here. Has to micro them perfectly. Already disrupting the mining quite significantly over here at the gas. And he wants to scout the tech. The mothership core, of course, is about to pop out, but it's pretty slow, so lings should be able to run circles around it for a little while here until he gets some more ranged units out. And all during this time, herO has to make the choice, do I show my tech to these lings, or do I wait and hide it? Well, looks like he's made that choice. It's going to be just show. There's even an Overlord. He's got full vision on that Robo.
This is just one of the most annoying things to deal with as a Protoss player. Having your slow Zealot and slow Sentry and slow Mothership Core chase this guy all the way around your base. If you don't have a Stalker, it's going to take a while.
Definitely will. Well, lings just popping in and out around here. Just confirming the Robo wasn't canceled. There's not much else you can do with them, but keeping them alive will draw the attention of those units for a while. Good scout here by herO. Because of these lings are actually not watching the front, like I was talking about before, you can sneak a probe out to get this scout. With +1 on the way, could be an aggressive attack. Warp Prism coming out first.
And already Curious has seen 2 of these sentries, the 2 that are out right now. I think we got another one on the way. Yes, we do. Warp Gate research is about to finish, but I think we only have 1 gateway.
Let me check that for you, actually. Yeah, you're right. No additional gates out of the front, so... Yeah, he's not going to be able to do a ton of damage for this, but I think it's just going to be the Immortal push. It's going to add extra gates. You can, get some tempo with this sentry attack, force a lot of units to be made, which then messes up the economy of Curious. Okay, so here's how this works. Goes in, drops in the main. If he decides to attack the main, regardless of where he drops, he's going to force lings. Drop in the main, drop in the natural, just go on the third base. Force a bunch of lings instead of drones, which disrupts the economy, which then makes the follow-up Immortal push. That's a very strong attack in general, hard to defend because your economy is in a weird place. It's hard to actually produce enough units to hold. It's a 1-2 punch. Looks like he's going to hit the natural. Let's see how much damage he gets done and how many lings he forces.
Already really nice force fields coming down, and he's getting to work on those guys, but he actually chooses to pick up and drop, or actually fake drop in the main and then come back to the natural.
Hallucination scout made perhaps accidentally, or I guess he just wants to see the lair timing here. It's like crazy he made that hallucination scout and saved those sentries at the same time. Some serious multitasking right there. Comes over here, sees the third base of saturation and gas. And there's those gates I was talking about. Looks like he's gone up to 8 in total. And with several Immortals and the disrupted economy, this is very, very scary. Tough to hold. Brings those sentries back, by the way, so they can actually be useful with the push as well. Now, this Nexus is probably just going to be left empty as he moves across the map with this. Shows the Immortals, actually.
Yeah. Curious was able to get the scout on that. I'm not sure if he saw all of these gates in the main. That's really what this is about. We have a third Immortal out now.
He has to know what's up, but he's making 8 drones, which is really concerning. Roach speed, is getting closer to being done, but if he doesn't have very many roaches, well, he's got 19 roaches out already. He did make a lot of roaches, actually, before that sentry drop even hit. 11 lings. He's got a lot of units. And his economy has stabilized at 63 drones. And herO is not attacking, actually. I mean, not yet. He's going to get +2 in Blink, it looks like, with this.
Kind of seems like more of a high economy, like Myung-Sik build that we saw earlier. He's getting the Blink, and he's actually getting armor. So not quite the upgrade I was expecting if you were to go aggressive here. I think he's just going to defend on 3 base, get a lot of upgrades, get his Colossi out, maybe go for a bit of a later push.
Yeah. Well, the Bay definitely shows that he's not going to attack. I was expecting him, as soon as that armor finished, to get the +2 attack after that, just do 2-1 with a Blink. An interesting way to approach taking a 3rd base with all his immortals. Perhaps just to scare Curious into thinking that he was going to attack. Because he showed them intentionally, too, to those Lings. And now, you know, nothing is going to hurt his 3rd base. He's going to laugh at the face of these Roaches. I dare you to get any closer to my sentries. I'll draw your name in force fields and then force field your Roaches off and kill them.
Somehow Changing was able to get into main. Does scout the Chrono Boost on the Twilight Council, so knows that Blink is probably on the way. Could assume it's charged, but he hasn't seen many Zealots, so it's probably got to be Blink.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Curious is going to have these Swarmos out and plenty of time to defend any attack that comes over soon. There's 2 observers on the map. I'm going to find out where they are exactly. Okay, one's on the edge of the creep, but it's not with the army right now. Something to keep in mind if he wants to commit to an engagement directly. Warp Prism does go into the main. Just going to drop some Zealots off here. Wants to assassinate that Queen and force units to go into the 3rd base. Or rather, excuse me, go into the main base while he kills the 4th. Forces that cancel.
Yeah, that 4th is not coming up. Not with all those Immortals to burst that down. And here are the Locusts trying to make their way through. But
the Observer's
nice
not there. And he just force fields and goes back.
Whereas back here we do see Curious trying to go for a counterattack. But back at the base, a big warp and a Stalker should be more than enough, especially with the Blink, to push those Roaches away. Now trying to snipe some of those sentries as well, but not quite able to, is Curious.
Gets a Stalker, though. You know, it's a small victory. This army is pretty split up right now, and does not want to lose these expensive gas units, the sentries and the Immortals. The 4th base taken over here now, around the 2 o'clock. Sweeping around the right side of the map. Rather than taking the base, that's a little bit exposed, the gold base down there next to the natural, because that could be too easily harassed.
You have 18 Swarmos out right now? Did I read that correctly?
Yeah. They're not all together, though. I think a lot of them just spawn.
That is a lot of Swarmos.
This is how Curious likes to play the game, man. He's like, I'm all about late game. I'm going to turtle, and it's going to take you forever to kill me. I'm going to make a ton of static defense. Blink forward here.
Do you see hallucinations on 2 Colossi? Maybe trying to show Curious that he's committed to double Robo when in fact he hasn't?
Yeah, that's definitely what he's trying to show here. But he needs to make sure that one of those hallucinations doesn't die to give up his fake here. Well, another attempted warp in is shut down just by the presence of units. Cancels that, goes back into transport mode. But look at all this scout on all these Swarmos. He knows how many he's dealing with. You may even want to consider actually going double Robo Colossi after seeing that many. And he's making even more. 4 more on the way. He's going up to 25 Swarmos.
This is like an unreal amount of Swarmos. Big Roach counterattack at this 4th base where there's not much defense. So he's going to force a recall all the way back home. That will be dealt with in time.
A few of these Swarmos left at home for defense. One gets picked off before it can burrow, but the rest of them will probably just push that attack back. Locusts do so well against Zealots. They're so armored, and of course they're ranged. But actually a few left over here to get some kills. Curious will absolutely have to deal with that. You know, Swarmos are great for the defense, but a few static defenses like these spines he's just starting definitely couldn't hurt. So a 4th base is up. The Stargate's coming up in +1. Looks like we're going to see him make a transition to air, because there's not a ton of Queens on the map, and there's no Corruptors just yet either. So it definitely help deal with this with Tempest and Void Rays.
Yeah, not a bad idea. The upgrades of herO here so far have been pretty stellar. He's using a lot of Chrono Boost on that. We see the +3 attack about to finish here. You just have the +2 attack for Curious, but he is going to be 1 upgrade behind. He is now getting that +2 to armor, though.
Yep. And don't forget, of course, herO still has that armor from before. So he can get his +2 armor, you know, eventually to catch up with this. And a huge wave of Locusts here actually going to cost herO a few of his expensive units, and a small attack force over here is going to get shut down by Locusts and Roaches. herO's really struggling to actually approach any of Curious's bases with this many Swarmos on the map. Just checking out the total number, 28 right now.
Okay, so the way he's deciding to play this right now is 4 Stargates. May see a switch into Tempest. He's already getting those fleet beacons out, or rather the 1 fleet beacon out, to possibly go for the Tempest.
Well,
here.
Certainly unlocks that fleet beacon tech, you know, the +2 and the Tempest and carriers. Of course, we won't be seeing any of those, I don't think. This base, actually, does he have a transfuse? It's down to 94 health. Oh, he doesn't target it.
Yep.
Gets transfused anyways.
Transfused it about 3 times there. He's able to just barely hold on.
Well, herO is in a pretty rough spot here because he has 600 gas. He doesn't have a lot of money because he just spent a ton of that on 6 cannons. And, I mean, he's got a huge income, but he keeps dropping all of his resources into these harassments that aren't killing bases. They're not doing damage. They're running into Locusts. And suddenly he can't afford 4 Stargate Tempests anymore. He can only make 2 at a time. He's making a mothership. Of course, with that 5th base that he's getting up to the top right, if he can actually hold on to that, he can make whatever he wants. We already even see a preemptive Oracle here for the Vision for the Tempest, for a spotter.
Mm-hmm. Small amount of Roaches trying to come in, maybe just trying to trade them.
Yeah, probably so. Huge amount of Locusts, but they're not quite close enough to start killing that base.
herO's desperately trying to find a place. His Dark Shrine right now is finished, so he could possibly warp in some Dark Templar, but first just going for mass Zealots.
9
Once
Zealots.
again, just trying to focus this down.
Yeah, it's too low. He does get it this time. Finally, hero's able to do some concrete, permanent damage to the economy of Curious. Can actually maybe fight these queens. Just decides to run away from the Locust, away from the Spines, and find some damage elsewhere. The gold base actually still hasn't been taken from Curious. I think he was maybe expecting there might be a base building there. But alas, there's not. He's just going to send his Zealots actually over to the top where he's taking that 5th. That Roach trade you were talking about happening here. Just wants to free up some more supply. 3/3s on the way for those Roaches, but also for the Swarm hosts. 8 Corruptors on the way. And he's just making more and more spores, more stack defense.
Yep.
Those Curious's bank in gas is insane, which will allow him to do a lot of different tech switches in the late game should he choose to.
Yeah, and he's been maxed here for quite a long time, and he can just bank that up. Be totally fine to do those switches you're talking about. This is going to be kind of annoying for herO to deal with these constant Locusts coming in. Just so many Swarm hosts, upwards of 20, and he's got a really nice position in the middle of the map. So many static defenses to defend this as well.
So, Curious loves static defense. I know I said that like 1,000 times, but let me just give you guys some numbers here, what's on the map. There are 27 Spine Crawlers and 15 Spores on the map right now. Getting across that is going to be no easy feat. Not to mention that he's got an army of Corruptors on top of that, as well as 29 Swarm hosts making 3 Locusts.
That's like, those are some unreal numbers.
Watching some Stefano VODs or something, man. All right, so these Immortals are trying to come over here. He wants to trade them because they're very heavy in supply. They're 4 supply units, so that's 12 supply you can free up to have more useful units in his Death Ball. He might be able to take a few of these static defenses with him, though. Meanwhile,
Looks like, yeah, he's just going in at that 4th base. Not having the best of luck. Like you said, it's pretty much just for the trade. Especially as the Locusts come out. Should be dealt with in near time.
he didn't target them. He got 1 Spine. That was it. The air upgrades are getting pretty intense for both players as well. 2-2 is finishing, or starting, excuse me, as 3-3 finishes for Curious. 2-2 for air, 3-3 for ranged units and his Locust. The upgrade for herO is at +2 for attack, +3 on the way. Armor-wise, he has no armor upgrades. He does, however, have shields for this mothership, and, of course, the Tempests that he's starting to add in here. Notice that he plays a completely different late-game PvZ style than Creator we saw earlier, who was reliant upon Void Rays. He used a Gateway army with Colossus support to secure his mid-game, to secure his bases, and only after securing his bases did he make that transition to Stargate. It's a much safer transition. He has so many Tempests this way.
Yeah, I'm loving the way hero's playing this much better. Like we were saying before, Creator's build kind of a bit outdated.
Ooh, look at this. I like this little snipe here. Pull on that detection with the Oracle and then send some DTs in. Nice little move.
Yeah, he's been so active all around the map with this War Prism from the beginning of the game, ever since he made it. He'll just continue to do that. Now with this Mothership, it allows him to push much easier against these Swarm hosts.
So
again, just going to be hard to get a good position here.
This is going to be a really long game, and it's because this game, you know, we have a similar situation to the Creator game, but the comp is actually better for herO. He lost his Mothership. That's kind of expensive and painful. But he has the Tempest count, and he has a safe economy. What we saw from Creator was he struggled to actually get an economy and build a bank, and his Void Rays really struggled to do damage. In fact, you know, so much so that Shine said they were useless. He has 11 Tempests already. He's adding 5 more, and essentially this army is going to become purely Tempest, maybe 3 Colossi or so, 2 or 3, and Oracles for Vision, and some Storms, and potentially, I guess, Archons under there as well to help deal with this. So the Colossi are going to deal with the Locusts on the ground. The Tempests are going to pick away at static defenses, and this game is going to be decided potentially even just as simple as it sounds by Viper pulls and control. Both players have insane
control,
banks.
army engagements, stuff like that. I mean, we're already seeing the map split in half. Not all of the bases have been taken even. This map is gigantic in terms of how many bases it has. Both gold bases still not taken. We have a while to go, like you were saying before.
The 2 bases that are to the top and the bottom, I think are going to be the bases that become contested first because they haven't been mined yet. They're a little bit easier to hold on to than the gold base. Trying to take the gold base for either player seems ridiculous at this point. But Curious has enough creeps for it, actually. If he could push it forward just a little bit more, he might even be able to take his gold coming up. The problem for herO taking his gold base is the static defense allows a defense of any units that might want to just go over and harass it. You know, even the Locust, if he actually manually targets them, could just go behind the mineral line and kill the probes. So let's look at the Tempest count right now. What is it? 17 Tempests on the map. 18 actually, as no one pops out, and he's
Still
getting the armor. Fungals are, or rather, excuse me, Infestors are on the way, which of course will be for Fungals. It's much easier to fungal a Void Ray though than it is to fungal a Tempest.
It's all about that range, man. And first, you gotta grab that that Mothership. That's like the first step as the Zerg. You gotta grab the Mothership, bring it back, kill it, and then only then can you really go in and try to engage with some Locusts and some Corruptors coming in. But again, during that whole time, when you're going up against 18 Tempests at the same time, you're gonna take a lot of damage.
With a Mothership here, you know, all the ground units are safe. He's lost all of his Colossi and has chosen not to replace them because he just doesn't need to. Huge Storm goes down here. He's going to rely on Storms and Archons to deal with the Locusts on the ground. And as long as he can keep the Mothership alive, it doesn't matter about the Locusts because they can't kill the High Templar or the Archons. And what he can do is if he continues to use his reveal ability or his revelation ability on that Oracle, he can always push the detection back so that he'll never have detection, and the Mothership core will protect his ground units. Or the Mothership, I should say, will protect his ground units. So, talking about static defenses, give you guys numbers again. There are now 29 Spine Crawlers on the map. Or Spore Crawlers. There are 43 Spine Crawlers.
Yep. And only 16 cannons here for herO. Not quite the same commitment. But again, the pretty immobile Swarm hosts there. They do need a lot of protection in the middle of the map to keep kind of that core in the middle and just keep the map control.
Now, should he try to bum rush the Mothership, it's not going to happen, most likely because of feedbacks. He can drop Storms as well. See, it becomes such a big problem.
This is a much harder comp to deal with.
He actually doesn't have a ton of Corruptors. You know, he only has 22. I mean, that's not a massive amount of Corruptors. He does finally get it. It was expensive to do that, though, and it's going to cause him to have to remax. Again, he's making 4 Vipers, and this is like a bank depletion game. He's getting pretty far forward with these Tempests, actually forcing even a move back on those Swarm hosts.
Yeah, the Fungal comes down, but it's only 1 Infestor. And the range, once again, you get the Oracles out in front for the vision, for the detection. You don't want to go that far. Actually, you wanted to get the Revelation on the units. That's actually pretty smart because very important for your Tempest, for the vision, like you were saying before. Now he's even adding to starting to add Void Rays into this comp, as he noticed there's not that many Infestors out on the map.
Yeah. Not a bad choice. This is the comp that you want. This is the dream composition in Protoss versus Zerg. If you ever get 20+ Tempest, most Zergs will tell you if your opponent gets 20 Tempest, you're going to die a slow, painful death to that, because there's not much answer for the Tempest. It's hard to engage. To pull a Tempest with your, with your Viper, excuse me, I don't know why I was struggling so hard to say that, costs potentially so much of your resource, so much of your bank, that it doesn't even end up being worth it. If you Swarmhouse getting sniped here, I think Curious might actually be okay with that. I think you might want to make some more Corruptors here.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah,
as you begin to see this,
actually.
like, there are no ground units. I think there was like one Archon out there somewhere, but it's pretty much only an air army right now for herO.
And herO reacts, so he trades some of his Swarmhouse, lets them die to get 9 more Corruptors, but like you're saying, more Void Rays being added into the mix here because there's not many Infestors, and that's what he's going to need to help deal with these Corruptors. And is Curious just going to go for it? Okay, grabs 2.
It takes a lot of shots in the meantime, even struggling to take down 1 Tempest.
And the static defenses are starting to get worn down here.
That they are slowly but surely.
Okay, another few Tempests do get sniped, being pulled into that massive Corruptor ball that has the support of the Spore Crawlers as well.
I love the control out of herO, just pushing his Void Rays forward to purposely attack only the Corruptors at the same time while the Corruptors are trying to snipe down some Tempests. It's a really nice comp he's got going here. He's noticed and reacted to the composition that Curious had built before, and now is starting to take this game.
I mean, to be frank with you guys, like, if ever there becomes this many Tempests on the map, it's almost like a win condition. It's like the same as defeating your opponent's buildings. It's so difficult for the Zerg to actually deal with it cost efficiently. That's why Curious has no bank.
There are so many Corruptors already out on the map, as well as all these Vipers. And here they go. The Corruption's coming down. He's trying to add some Void Rays into the comp to fight this, but there are just so many Corruptors out on the map at the moment.
Yeah, he's actually just chasing this back, and herO's trying to kite, but his Void Rays are arriving a bit too late to the party. And to be frank, I'm not sure if there's enough of them to actually fight this. Okay, here they come. He forces this back. That was really expensive there for herO. This is the first time in this game that Curious has actually eliminated such a large chunk of herO's army that he's going to have to start really depleting his bank. Speaking of banks, the reason why I was getting that discussion about how hard it is to kill the Tempest and how it's almost impossible, it's almost like you've lost the game already, was because it costs him so many Vipers he has to remake, so many Corruptors he has to remake. And look at this Archon force that gets made here. Once all the Swarmhosts are gone, these Archons can just help do some extra splash damage. You're not going to be able to chase those Tempests down. You're not going to be able to chase those Void Rays down with your Corruptors if you don't have the Locust support when those Archons start to fight.
I was just taking a look at the worker count here for Curious. The reason he's like not really able to replenish his bank at the moment is because he has 38 workers. He's making so many static defenses right now to try to replenish the ones that he lost in the middle of the map, and he's suffering. He hasn't taken 2 bases already that he could possibly take.
Yeah, it's actually so funny. To give you guys a funny stat in this game, herO has only killed 4 drones. He's only killed 4 drones. He's killed a lot more via killing static defenses, but he's only killed 4 workers this entire game. Just to
hashtag Zerg.
17 Archons on the map. One of the other most cost-efficient units in the game. Going to do a lot of AoE. Doesn't want to fight these Locusts if he can help it, but just knows they're about to run out of time and pushes through anyways. If he can get underneath this army, he could do massive amounts of damage. And actually, those pulls, I'm not sure if those are the right choice. Okay, there's Locusts under there. That's why.
He's got some Zealots in the front to tank, though, and the Archon's in the back with the splash damage against the biological units. He's doing unbelievable amounts of damage. There's so much gas in this composition, but again, the bank of Curious wasn't the greatest. It took him a long time to get up this army.
There's no Overseer.
And if it gets killed, it's going to be really hard to replenish it.
He needs Overseers to get vision to actually kill these Archons. Meanwhile, spending the rest of his mineral bank to kill the stack defense that's isolated in the middle of the map. And here comes herO. He just stutter step forwarding onto these spine crawlers. And here comes the Anchor too. He needs those Locusts to help out. There are Locusts underneath there. And of course, he does pull them out of that Mothership's cloak. And there's that prismatic alignment on just a few of these Void Rays. This base is going to fall. And herO, again, spending all of his gas bank on more Archons, more cost efficiently actually in these DTs.
Yep.
Drones are starting to fall.
all the extra supply that he has, he's adding a bunch of Zealots as well, just for the tanking. They're not even doing that much damage. They just tank the Locust hits here for the Archons to do the damage in the back. And here we go. Huge pulls. Does get that mothership.
Yeah, as well as a Tempest. Can he hold this ground army off one more time for another wave of Locust? It doesn't look like it. This is going to go down as well. And Curious has spent all of his bank. He wants to get Broodlords. That's why that Greater Spire was on the way, because he knows there's not that many Tempests left. But I worry for him here because there certainly are a lot of Void Rays. And those 7 Broodlords are 7 less Corruptors he's going to have to defend. And
really
if he gets under there with that Archon army, it's just not going to matter.
He's going right for the third here. He's going up the ramp into the main base. There's not even that many static defenses here, especially not that many Spore Crawlers. He's trying to get some of these Tempests out before the fight even starts.
Incredible control here by Curious. The Broodlord's coming at the side, working with those free units. Those Locusts, he's going to use the Changeling as a wall. He cannot actually walk through those Changelings. He will have to manually target and kill those. The Void Rays come through at the front, though. And they're actually all going down. That Changeling move was beautiful there. He uses the Changelings to make it so the Archons can't actually walk through. Now he's going to pick off this Tempest. Curious with that incredible decision-making, that last-second decision-making to use his Overseers to make that Changeling wall, protects his Broodlords, and he's actually able to hold this off. His base down here, though, is very exposed. There's a lot of spines there, but this huge army of Zealots is going to rip through.
Fully upgraded. They can walk in there and kill all these spine crawlers really fast, believe it or not. There's going to be a lot of transfusions to try to save this, but again, what can Curious do at this moment? He's got to move his entire army right now to defend this. And these are his last mining bases.
Yep.
He's got to get those Locusts down.
This is the most immobile army in the game. Corruptor, Broodlord, Swarm Host.
At the same time, that whole army is out of position, and those Archons are looking to cut off any reinforcements or possibly snipe some more buildings.
He's trying to so much if he loses this base. It's going to cost him so much. It goes down to one hit point there.
Just barely. 2 Zealots.
Barely gets it there. That's huge. That's a lot of gas mining he's going to lose. Just a few Broodlords over here with those Swarm Hosts with some Overseers to actually defend this. This base, or rather this game, is getting out of control, Valdez.
It really is. He's trying to take the gold base now. I mean, interesting idea, but the Broodlords are in a decent spot. Maybe he can try to beat them out. They're kind of all alone there.
Now, the bank here that you see for herO, you might be thinking, well, he's got a bank, and Curious doesn't. But Curious's units, trades are free units for expensive units, so herO really has to be careful about every single resource he spends now for the rest of this game, because he has a bank, but he's only going to be able to use it to remax once until he gets these bases up, which is why he's focusing on that so heavily right now. Taking the base at the 12 o'clock, this gold base in their hand looks like it might have to be canceled. A lot of Blink Stalkers coming in, though. Spends his bank on that. He's going to get these Broodlords, something that Curious cannot afford to replace.
He does have all those Swarmos over there, but they're in between cycles, so he's able to snipe out 4 Broodlords. And at the moment, if you look at the gas of Curious, he's only mining from, I think, maybe 2 bases.
Yeah, 1 to the bottom left and 1 long-distance mining at that base that got sniped. So he's barely making any money right now.
Oh, and this is it. He's trying to go for the throats. All the units of Curious are totally out of position at that bottom base, just trying to defend. And there is so much tech here in the main.
Yeah, he's just abusing the fact that this army comp is so slow for Curious. And it's because it's slow, Curious can't punish this. He can't just say, oh, your whole army's over there, I guess I'll just kill your base. It just doesn't work that way.
He's trying to remake all the tech down there at the bottom left bases.
Yeah, before the hive goes down, that's what he wants. Of course, he's going to have to remake the hive if he wants a Greater Spire. He doesn't have a bank to even make a Mutalisk switch, and even if he could, with this many Archons, I don't think it's the right choice. Okay, this game's still not over yet, even though he just lost a huge blow. I mean, his army is still almost perfect. Let's talk about some unit numbers here.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see.
We got 28 Corruptors on the map, so air is basically irrelevant for herO until he gets even a larger bank than the one he has right now. There's still 18 Swarmos. There's 3 Vipers, which, while that hive is gone, he cannot replace. 36 drones to 63 Harvesters for herO, so keep in mind that the army of Curious, if you look at the top right and just look at those 2 supplies, isn't what it shows. I mean, you look at the A tab right there where you see right under Curious Army. That's how big this Zerg army is. So Curious Army is small, and like I said, herO's army is small, and every unit that he makes is depleting his bank so much, and if he loses it to free units like Locusts and Broodlings, you know, it's not worth it.
Trying to even blink in here and snipe some Vipers possibly. He knows the hive has been taken out, but I'm not sure that, again, the Changeling wall, very nice to block and bug out those Blink Stalkers there. And this is the army of herO right now, pretty much. This is what you're seeing.
You know why I love games like this so much is it actually it's a really great showcase of the races in StarCraft 2. You have these really efficient, strong Protoss units that are much more mobile, can blink around, can basically surgically remove bases, surgically remove tech, like we saw the top left. Then you have the swarm in the Zerg. This army that makes free units. It feels like it's this endless supply of units. It's like, we doesn't even have money, but he's got this big blob of units that just keep coming at me, and they're free. And even though I got more money than him, I have to be extremely careful with my expensive units that can blink, that can micro, and it's just, this is how StarCraft 2 is. This is like the beauty of the game. To me, is just watching how herO, with a bigger bank and in some ways a better army, still struggles to end the game and has to figure out what moves to make. And if he makes too many mistakes, that's how herO comes, or how Curious comes back into this game.
It's really great to see. We do see herO now taking this gold base. I think he was thinking about taking the one that should have been his down there towards the south, but that one towards the north is much safer after eliminating all the Zerg, cleaning out that creep as well. And herO, he's just trying to get a decent economy here on like 2.5 bases and just try to rebuild his army. He's maxed now. He's made 11 Tempests.
Yeah. I mean, he did make that switch back to Tempest, and I think it's because he knows there's not very many Vipers. He's going to throw away his probes here just so he can get more free supply. If there's not very many Vipers on the map, it's hard to fight this comp. That was the strength that Curious had earlier. He had so many Vipers and he could replace them. Actually just going to throw away a lot of these units as well. His Zealots get chain funkled here. Not what he expected. He wanted to do a lot more with these Zealots. That's going to cost him big. But again, it frees up supply. Just going to keep making more Zealots to continue to harass. He's now going to the right side where Curious is taking the 6 o'clock base. And he's going to have to... Oh, barely does not get in there. There was a tiny window of time to get those Zealots in there. He just barely missed it. This game is insane.
It's going so long, man, even. Going up to now 50 minutes.
herO
this is something
has,
you usually see between Mech and Zerg.
Yeah. herO has... he has... Let's see. I'm going to count how much gas he's got left mining. He's got 2 gases mining at the 12. Both of those assimilators have 2,000 gas left. The gas to the base of the top next to that base, like at the 1 o'clock, 12:30, all completely mined out, just like the observer just clicked on right as I was saying that. Every other gas or every other base that herO has is almost mined out or is mined out. Okay, he's only got 2 other assimilators that are mining, and that's the base of the far top right. It has, in total, 300 gas left at that base. So he's got 4,000 more gas he can mine in this game. Okay, now he just got the gold-based gases up, so he's got those 2 gases mining as well. So 4 gases he's going to be mining from.
Those are some really important gases. And the positioning of herO's army right now, you can see, is to try to threaten this base down to the south at the same time as guarding that gold base, trying to deny as much mining as possible. He's rebuilt a sizable air army right now. He's got 11 Tempest, 6 Void Rays, getting those numbers up on the Void Rays especially, as he knows there's a huge corruptor number in this Zerg army. He's just slowly picking at these locusts down here in the bottom and going to slowly push in towards that base.
Yeah, he's in a really good spot to start hitting this, especially with the Oracle there. There's only 2 Vipers in this mix. He's going to go for the Mothership because that's been causing him a lot of grief with those ground units, those Archons. Now the Mothership is gone. The Archons fade away. And there's so many spores underneath there as well. Those Tempests need to get back. And this time, I don't think Curious has enough units to actually just bum rush this and kill the Voids. There's too many Voids. There's 10 Void Rays in this mix. 30 Corruptors this time. That's a lot. And he did eliminate those expensive Archons. I worry for him here. Now, Curious with a slightly better gas income because those 2 simulators I was talking about that only had 300 gas in total between the 2 of them are now out of gas. So it's 6 gases to 4 gases, actually, for a little while longer until Curious's gas is the bottom left mine out. So that's just something to consider here. He's going to start building that better gas bank so he can make those Vipers that he needs, make those Infestors that he needs. He has on the map right now 5 Infestors. And that's the answer to the Void Rays, as we saw earlier in the game with Shine.
You can see right now, even trying to take the gases over there.
Oh, they're mined out, though.
I think he notices that and cancels it now. He's like, oh, yeah, that was your 3rd base. There's some gases there at that gold, as he's pointing it out, the observer right now. No gas here.
And the main base is mined out of gas as well for both players, of course.
Yeah. We're seeing herO's not maxed out here. and he is struggling to get gas. That's the biggest name of the game right now. He's trying to make that huge air army, but he just cannot scrounge together enough gas here to max out just yet.
That mothership pull was really important because if he didn't do that, he wouldn't be able to eliminate the Archons, and I feel like herO would have been able to kill those bases to the bottom right, or at least mess with their mining quite a bit. But that might even be intentional, not killing that queen. He's like, I want you to have that supply on that queen, not be in your air army. But it is actually helping him get creep. I would actually kill it. It's making these locusts worth a lot more. And, I mean, Curious is just going to turtle, I think. There's no reason for him to start trying to move his Swarmos around, take any risks. Just grab any unit you can. Keeping those very important Vipers alive is so essential. And now he's got the bank to remake them. And he's got such a bank that he's actually feeling confident to remake Spore Crawlers. And that's expensive, you know, and that's not going to be a unit that can help you fight. But if you get a yank, the Spore Crawlers help do that extra DPS. Okay, Mothership's back. Let's see if he can actually grab it again, because this is the key point for this Protoss army.
That it is. We got a lot of Overseers in this mix as well. Just so annoying in the front, you know, could eat some damage if that is the first thing they target.
It's got some Fungals here as well. It's only one Archon on the ground, so the Locusts don't really have very many targets here anyways. All right, Fungal goes down. So that's it. I mean, it's only going to do a little bit of damage to the shields. It needs much more than that. A lot of these Spores going to buy time to help maybe get a Viper into position.
He's just slowly trying to pick at these defenses. Puts down the Revelation now, so it's going to be much easier to pick at them.
Okay, he's going to go in and rush on a few of these Tempests. Decides the Mothership is not actually as important. It's pretty tanky. He doesn't want to waste his DPS on that. Just fights, kills a few of those Tempests. And the Fungal goes down. He starts to yank a few more Void Rays. They can't retreat. He's whittling them away here.
And every single air unit of the Protoss right now is so important because he's so low on gas. Every single one he needs to try to keep alive.
Okay, here we go again. Coming in. Just going to start picking a few of these off. Picking a few of these away. Force the Prismatic Alignment as well. So these Warriors are going to be on cooldown in a second here. But he does finally stop the mining of the gas at this base.
Really important. Want to kill those extractors as well to make it even harder, if possible. A little bit later on if he does gain back that control. But now it's 4 gas to 4 gas. Well, I guess those gases actually in the top right have stopped mining. Oh, it's still 4 gas to 4 gas.
Yep. Just for a little bit longer.
And now slowly still trying to push. This air army is so important. So strong. He does get the pull on the Mothership. Doesn't go down. He finally gets it. He's eating a bunch of damage, though.
Using those Overseers to tank so well. He's actually made the Overseers part of his army, frankly, like with the changeling usage that we saw earlier.
Gas, man.
Okay, here we go. He's going to try to grab a few more of these Tempests. Gets 2 more. He actually has to fight them, though, because he's starting to take a lot of hits on these Corruptors and even actually having to remake some of them, and some of them die. 11 more on the way.
I would have just one-shotted that gas. He was in position with this Tempest. But anyway, here we go. Tons of Corruptors. He's actually really confident right now to go in.
He knows the Prismatic Alignment was on cooldown. Now it's back up for some of these Voids. But he's just got too many Corruptors. Just using Corruption on all of these air units, and this actually might be how it ends, Valdez. Corruption going down here again. Prismatic Alignment active for just a few of these Void Rays. He pushes through, though, and he can just remax the Corruptors so much faster than herO can remax his Voids. You know, and they're on his turf. They're actually going to join this army in just a second. More Fungals come down, even infested Terrans.
Yeah, man. Just barely. This fight is so close. But like you said, there's going to be a lot more Corruptors where that came from. And herO has 150 gas. He's trying to fight now with some more Voids. And now he will force those Corruptors back off. But once again, Curious still will be able to get a lot more Corruptors and even Infestors in this mix, which will be very important if they can get some nice Fungals on all those Voids.
The minerals are useless because of the lack of gas. He's not going to be able to make 50 Zealots kill those bases. Even if each Zealot was manually targeted on each of the bases to ignore Locusts, they wouldn't be able to walk through the Locusts fast enough to kill the bases. That 6,000 now gas, 6,400 minerals, is not going to be useful until he has gas, which he's running out of again here very quickly.
Looks like Curious actually wants to go for the throat. He wants to pick off as many of these air units as possible.
Yeah, he just wants to make sure that army never gets back up to full power. The base, by the way, that's outside of Curious's base, has 1,500 gas left. It's down to 700 per assimilator. The gold base should still be around 1,500 each or so, 1,200 each, so 2,400 there. That's the last gas left in this game that herO's ever going to have. The base to the 6 o'clock hasn't been remade, but Curious is about to do that. Okay, he just did.
Yeah, an observer spots that, and herO cannot be happy about that as well. Do you see some annoying zealots out here to clear some creep? Maybe some leftover guys?
I think what herO's trying to decide is it possible for me to build a comp with the money that's left on this map to win the game, to kill his buildings? And that's why he hasn't built anything, because he's like, I don't know what the best answer is here, actually. Whoa, that physics, that was awesome. I think that's what he's just like, is this possible? Is this doable? How do I do this? Let me like just sit back and think about this.
The composition is insane of Curious, though. I mean, he still has 20 swarm hosts on the map. So anything you've got on the ground, even if you've got a ton of Archons in this mix, which we will not be able to make with the low amount of gas, it's still going to be unbelievably hard to penetrate that. He's got so many spine crawlers as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about units he can make. He can only make 5 Archons or so, you know, now getting close to about 6. He'll never ever be able to make like 10 Archons or 17 Archons like we saw before. Void Rays, he'll never have enough to deal with this many Corruptors, especially not with Vipers. Stalkers aren't going to deal with the Swarm hosts. He's deciding to make Stalkers. It's not going to be enough to deal with the Swarm hosts. Maybe he could try to outmaneuver, out-micro. He's using these Stalkers to try to kill this base, but he can't fight that many Locusts. He has, on the map, still 20 Swarm hosts, which means, you know, at times there's like 80 Locusts on the map.
He's actually found a hole somewhere to do a bunch of damage to that hive. If he warped in something like 50 Zealots, possibly could maybe go in and target that down.
Notice the indecision. He like made Tempest and canceled them. Then made Void Rays and canceled them.
There's a
Made
carrier
a carrier
on the production tab.
I think that's probably a misclick, but there's no comp he can make with the money that's left on this map to win this game if Curious just sits back and defends. I cannot believe Curious turned this game around. I mean, there were 20 Tempests on the map at a time, and Curious took that one engagement, as I was making the point that it was impossible to do so. And he's just one of the best late-game EVP Turtle Zergs there has to offer. You know, those anecdotes, those old GSTL matches I was talking about, this is what they look like.
They really do. And herO's just desperate right now. We see him trying to snipe some bases, some air units, but he's just losing so many of these Stalkers for nothing. We had a large number of Zealots possibly trying to go in and snipe that hive. And that's probably what they're going to go in and do here. That hive was pretty low.
Even if he gets the hive, though, I mean, he's going to have to get more than that. If he can take this base apart piece by piece and dodge Locust waves, that's the only way he can win the game, like I was saying before. You know, like, if he could make as many Zealots as he could afford, like, could he break through? It's just probably not going to happen.
Seems like for now that's what he's going to try.
I mean, it's what he has to try, right? It's the only choice he's got left. Need more Locusts, though. They're actually, you know, a bit off, out of position. He's getting some damage done here.
No fungals either.
No detection, though.
Yeah, no detection. So he's forced to back off once the Locusts come out.
In order to get detection with those Zealots, he has to kill Spore Crawlers, which means that he has to get through those. Where then by the time he could get through those Locusts there, it's like, it's a hopeless situation, right? It's looking impossible. Interceptor in production. He's got plenty of money to make those. Here comes the next wave of Zealots. I almost think the only way this is going to happen is if he actually, literally, like, makes all the Zealots he can afford all at once and stops sending them in small groups like this.
He's going to try to run into the main base. Not even sure if that base is mining at this moment.
It's not. There's a lot of spines in here and some tech.
Go for Greater Spire, I guess.
Yep. This is, again, some of his bank that's being depleted because as he depletes his mineral bank, that becomes an issue, too, because there's even, you know, less minerals on the map than there is gas, actually, at some of these bases. This is going to get cleaned up. He kills an Infestor, actually. That's a pretty big win, but
if he was able to have detection with these Zealots that went in, it would be much harder for Curious to defend.
He just can't, though. There's just no way. There's just no way. only if the Observer could, like, turn invincible for a second. Could he do anything like that?
Oh, here we go.
A fungal would be great here, and actually these Swarmos are a bit out of position. Okay, this is his chance. All these Void Rays have prismatic alignment available. Okay, there's the first fungal. And he has detection. He has detection. One gets picked off.
He's trying to just go in and attack. If he can take out all these Corruptors, could he possibly mount a comeback? The fungals are so important.
Okay, the fungals are absolutely important. He gets another one off here. Needs a fungal again. Needs a fungal again. Does he have the energy? He does, but he misses. He's another fungal, and oh no! Those infestors, he cannot lose those! He has to keep those infestors alive! Oh my god, is this going to happen, Valdez? He's gonna kill one of those corruptors. Prismatic is active now. There's no fungals. He does the corruption. Can he break through?
Oh my god!
Can this happen? This is happening right now. I cannot believe what I am seeing.
Where are the fungals? These are infested Terrans.
Infested Terrans. These Borderers are actually very low on health. Very low.
But the infested Terrans get killed immediately. And I don't think he has any more fungals.
He does not. Not nearby anyways. There are 2 infestors left on the map.
And they're running away.
There's 1 observer on the map, and there's 1 oracle. There's the detection he's going to need to kill these, to chase these down. The carrier here is going to have a hard time breaking through. There are only 5 spores on the map. Make that 4 as another one goes down here. And here's the huge warp of the Stalkers. There's only 10 spines. I cannot believe what I'm watching. I cannot believe this is happening. He's blinking forward.
1 more infestor. It's going to go down. It doesn't matter. There's just 2 Protoss here. The Void Rays have won in the end.
This actually just happened. He missed the fungals. He did not get the chain fungal he needed. And that's all he needed. Okay, wait, a few more fungals going down. But there's no...
He's fighting with drones at this point.
There's no Swarmos left. Drones fighting here. The Spine helping out that 1 carrier. Making 1 Inceptor die to the Spore Crawl repeatedly.
Oh, God. That's
okay, so this should be it, I think.
Great. Curious is not mining. Does he even have drones? He has 2 drones.
And he's
on 35 supply.
He has 3 Infestors, 3 Vipers, and a Queen. He's making Lings right now.
Oh, he can't fly this under the Spore Crawler.
Yeah, he's making Lings.
Really important.
He's actually making Lings, and he's going to kill this Void Ray, I think. No, that doesn't quite. It's too upgraded. Probes come down here to fight. How many spines are left? 7? 7 spines left. Still has a few Infestors, don't forget. There's 1,000 minerals left to make Zealots, too. But that's why these Infestors are so important. You might want to consider fungling that, actually. Okay, no, just going to bring the Lings instead.
The Queen? Is that going to take that out? That Void Ray is very important.
Oh, he has to kill this Oracle. He has to kill the Oracle somehow. He has no answer for this. He has no answer for this at all. The Infestor doesn't have enough energy for fungal.
Where are the Corruptors on the map right now? There's 2 Corruptors, but they're not here.
They're not here. He tries to split the Infestors, but Probes are chasing Infestors right now. And if those Infestors die, that's going to be the end of it, I think.
What are these guys doing out in the middle of the map? Did he forget about them?
I think so, man. But the spines here are still an issue. But if he has even a single flying unit left on the map, he could actually just kill them. Any air-to-ground damage will kill those spines and be able to win the game.
He's making Queens right now to defend. This 1 carrier has survived.
I don't think this carrier could be killed. There's
2 Corruptors and a couple of Vipers.
He needs actually spores, but he has no drones.
There are 2 spores in the main.
I don't think he can actually kill the carrier. Although it's going to be hard with these spores to actually kill that. The Void Ray needs to come and help out. Here come the probes too. Lings are going to have to defend this. Where's the Void Ray? The Void Ray would love to come in here and finish this off. It's going to kill that. It's very low. The probes have armor.
May want to go ahead and attack that Queen. It's doing a decent amount of damage to that carrier already.
I think that's
Second Queen pops out.
I think this is over. He has no more. He has no more spores. He can't make any more. He has no more. Not enough anti-air.
He's trying to win this one with Queens.
It's not going to happen.
GG is called.
Oh my God! What an amazing game. I'm speechless.
herO somehow is able to win that one. I don't even know how, man. That was just sick. Curious, like, he made a few crucial mistakes. The fungals there, he just didn't have enough energy saved up to finally kill the Void Ray. pretty much all in there at the end. That was like all the gas that herO had at the end, and he's like, okay, I'm going to stop with the Tempest. I'm going to make only Void Rays. I have to kill the Corruptors, and he succeeded because the Infestors weren't able to do their job, whether they didn't have the energy because they were fighting the Zealots that came in first with some Infested Terrans, some Fungals. They just weren't there in the fight. They weren't doing their job.
They often got blocked.
Yeah.
I feel like, to be honest, like a lot of this game came down to herO. Okay, he had to sit back and say, what is the only comp that I can make that will win this game? He had to make that. He had to set that up.
Void Rays,
he had to get that ready, get the Void Rays, and then he actually also had to have something that I think this is maybe the only time I will use this word, like in StarCraft. He had to have courage, okay? Because this wasn't even confidence. This is like, I think what he had there was, okay, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I can win this, and I'm going for it. And Curious got flustered. He was like, well, you're really going for this. He was not set up properly, didn't have all of his Corruptors with him, messed up his Fungals, and that confidence and that courage that allowed him to even go into that fight really flustered Curious, and he did not defend properly. And then even at the end, he still almost held on. He didn't have those two Corruptors helping him out. He did not have those Infestors split, so the one Oracle started killing his Infestors with probes. The probes that had armor. The probes had +3 shields.
Oh, God.
I'm not quite sure if probes get shields upgrades or not. I'm not even sure about that, to be frank with you. I don't think they do, but...
Well, guys, we just had an insane game. That was amazing. Recommend that VOD to your friends. We could talk about that for hours and hours, but the night is not done. We have Byung versus Life up next, and we're going into a 2-minute break first.
Yep. And we'll see if CJ can close it out. We'll be right back.